people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, we're back, Truth Seeker, and it's that special hour where we get greeted by Rambo. And let me get him connected right now. For the record, when we come back from Rambo, Binghamton, New York, you are next in line. And there he is. How you doing tonight, Rambo?
Hey, thanks again.
Always welcome.
Also, I just want to tell the New York caller, he's Bob Marley's friend. He said he reached out to me. You gave me his number. If he's listening, I just want him to know I got his number, and I will be contacting him because you gave me his number a couple weeks ago, and he really wanted to reach out. But so if he's listening, I will. I did get his number, and I will reach out to him.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So, yes, I want to address the ritual, the grand ritual. It's actually an equinox ritual. Equinoxes are prime time for rituals. That is the Ever Given, a cargo ship that got stuck on the Suez Canal. Actually, when I decoded that, I had no idea how many layers there were to the ritual. So actually what I have here is, if I did all the layers I found, it would be it would be like 3 hours. So I just did. This is just part of everything I found. I can present the rest later. So I posted an article. It's titled on the GematriaEffect.news. It's titled "The Ever Given Suez Canal Grounding: Metaphors and the Mystique of the 28th Parallel." The Ever Given container ship was a vessel of epic proportions. Its length exceeds the width of the Suez Canal. It got stuck sideways in the world-famous sea route on March 23rd. I made a mistake there. I put 24th. I meant 23rd, 2021, causing major disruption in world economic activity in what was a high esoteric ritual on multiple levels. The equinoxes are prime times for high ritual. This was a spring/vernal equinox ritual, in addition to other things. If this is not a ritual, then the following is a spectacular coincidence. The ship Ever Given was completed in 2018 on September 25th. September 25th, 1859, construction began on the Suez Canal. So that's an interesting synchronicity. The date that the Suez Canal construction began, the same anniversary, the Ever Given ship that got stuck on the Suez Canal was completed. So that's already right there an interesting correlation. I have stressed and reiterated that the Roman Empire never went extinct and is alive today behind facades such as the United States and the Vatican. United States national symbols are Roman symbols. The chief deity of Rome is Jupiter, who is openly venerated in multiple forms in the United States. The fascist, the evil, the stripes on the flag, the Temple of Jupiter, which is Abraham Lincoln Memorial. We can go on and on. The Vatican venerates the Roman Jupiter in the form of St. Peter. Jupiter is a Roman analog of Greece's Zeus. Here, the center of the ritual becomes conspicuously obvious. Suez is simply Zeus spelled backwards. So there's also a ritual here is a metaphor for the human body. And only with gematria can you fully see this ritual. The Suez Canal runs vertically north to south along the top of the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. In gematria, Sinai and heart are a supermatch across 3 out of 4 base ciphers. Heart is relevant because the Sinai Peninsula is shaped like a human heart. Heart is also an anagram for earth. So the human heart is said to be designed, this is what biologists say, the human heart in optimal, ideal conditions is designed to last 120 years. The Christian Bible in Genesis 6:3 also suggests this to be the case. I quote from King James Bible, "And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years." Well, the Suez Canal, which is shaped like the Sinai Peninsula is shaped like a heart. The Suez Canal is 120 miles long. That's a very significant number, which is relevant to the heart. Jupiter and Zeus are analogs of an original archetype that is the ancient Sumerian Enlil, the storm, sky and weather god. They said it was stormy weather that led to the ship running aground. Well, we know who the storm god is. It's Enlil, who is Zeus, who is Jupiter. So naming the Suez Canal after Zeus is honoring Enlil. So no wonder then that the Sinai Peninsula, which is shaped like a human heart, Enlil and heart are a perfect match across all 4 base ciphers of gematria. Also, Sin, S-I-N, is the name of the Sumerian moon god, who is the son of Enlil in Sumerian mythology. So the Sin, the Sumerian moon god, in Sinai, Americans say Sinai, but it's not, this is Sinai, is a reference to this son of Enlil from the Sumerian mythology. So Enlil is acknowledged, again, even in the name Sinai, it's named after his son, Sin. So we see, again, when we see mythology and we see the name etymology, we see who is being honored. So the Sinai Peninsula is a metaphor for the human heart, which supplies life-giving blood to the body. Planet Earth is a metaphor for the human body. The goods being transported through the canal that sustain economic activity are metaphors for the vital elements carried through the blood to sustain the body. The Suez Canal is even referred to as a major artery, a direct metaphor for the arteries of the human heart. The Suez Canal was essentially a clogged artery. I even show some of the headlines, the language they use. It says here, World Economic Artery blocked with ship wedged sideways in Suez Canal. I'll give an example. There are multiple examples. It's referred to the Suez Canal as an artery. And no coincidence that the Sinai Peninsula is shaped like a heart. That's the metaphor. So when arteries to the human heart are blocked, bypass surgery is performed to reroute blood away from the clogged artery to the heart. This is exactly what happened when the Suez Canal artery was clogged, and a literal bypass, a cardiological term that was used by multiple media outlets, had to be performed by sailing around the southern tip of Africa and going up north of the Atlantic. So, some say the Suez Canal. I showed some headlines where they use that kind of language. They actually describe it, the same description as a bypass surgery. So the coronary metaphor is apropos at this time because it occurs during the coronavirus. Corona is a heart reference. corona. Then there is the ritual of the 28th parallel. Planet Earth is crisscrossed by energy pathways called ley lines. Sacred sites from ancient times to modern have been placed on ley lines, while ley line energy paths do not necessarily correspond with meridians and parallels. The 28th parallel north appears to coincide with major Earth energy path. The 28th parallel north runs through the Sinai Peninsula. On the Sinai Peninsula is the mountain of Great Mystique, after which the peninsula is named Mount Sinai, a sacred site to all Abrahamic religions. The Sinai Peninsula, which is shaped like a heart, as I said, it is on the 28th parallel. If you follow the 28th parallel west, you reach Orlando, Florida, United States, site of the Pulse nightclub shooting. Now think of that name, Pulse. That's a cardiac reference. A heart gives a pulse. So this is a coincidence for this heart-shaped peninsula. You draw a direct line with the mountain after which the peninsula's name. Orlando is in a direct line with that heart-shaped peninsula, and so you can put into context the Pulse nightclub shooting of 2016. In fact, they are precisely in line. It's on the money. 28 degrees and 32 minutes, Mount Sinai and Orlando. And in Gematria, coronary sums to 107. 107 is the 28th prime, like the 28th parallel, on which the Pulse nightclub is. And also the name of the ship ever given sums to 107, which is the 28th prime number. The energy invoked from rituals on ley lines permeates throughout the entire ley line. So the energy from the Pulse nightclub ritual went to the Sinai Peninsula and to the sacred Mount Sinai. Energy from the Ever Given artery clogging ritual in the Suez Canal also permeated, although that wasn't exactly on the 28th parallel. But at the same time, when they do rituals on ley lines, they both put energy into the ley line and draw energy out of the ley line. So if you follow the 28th parallel further west from Orlando, you will see that this line is consciously used as a border between the Mexican states of Baja California Norte and Baja California Sur, which is north and south. Those are two states in Mexico. The 28th parallel is used for the border between those states. So energy from the June 12th, 2016 Pulse nightclub shooting ritual also had to go through the Baja California Norte and Sur border as well. It went all across the 28th parallel. So in the super appropriate, I say super appropriate because of the Sumerian cipher, and this goes back to Sumer. In the Sumerian cipher of Gematria, Baja California sums to 612, like the date of the shooting, June 12th. And we see the connections to the 28th parallel. This isn't a coincidence. Remember that Suez, the Suez Canal does not run through the 20th parallel, but the Sinai Peninsula runs through the 20th parallel runs through Sinai Peninsula, and Suez is Zeus. Backwards, Zeus is Jupiter, who is Enlil. Probably the most prominent symbol of Jupiter is the eagle. On the 28th parallel, Baja California Norte and Baja California Sur border sits a giant eagle monument. It's an iron eagle directly on that border. Jupiter rules the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. The 28th parallel, the Iron Eagle Monument, officially opened on a date in Sagittarius, December 1st, 1973. That's not a coincidence. Now, if you follow the 28th parallel north to the east of Mount Sinai and the peninsula, you'll hit another significant mountain. The tallest in the world, Mount Everest, is also on the 28th parallel. This establishes the unique importance and significance of this pathway. There's the term evergreen, which is, I guess that was the most vivid image of the whole incident. Well, the Ever Given was being rented, the official term is chartered, by a Taiwanese shipping company named Evergreen Marine. Its name Evergreen was emblazoned on the containers, which is the most vivid image from the ritual, the green containers with Evergreen in all caps in white. Again, Zeus is Suez, so and Zeus is Jupiter. In Gematria, Jupiter sums to 99. 99 is very prominent in Jupiter rituals, where Evergreen sums to 99. This is clearly a Jupiter-related ritual. Some have made a connection with Hillary Clinton in this event based on the fact that her Secret Service code name is Evergreen, and the Ever Given's call sign is H3RC, which contains HRC, which is Hillary Rodham Clinton's initials. While there is no evidence of child trafficking on the ship, as QAnon alleges, Hillary Clinton is a part of the decode for even more reasons than QAnon's limited decoding skills, at least in this ritual, were able to reveal. Mount Sinai and Mount Everest are connected by the 28th parallel north. One of the first two climbers officially confirmed to reach the summit of Mount Everest is Edmond Hillary from New Zealand. Numerical anagrams are interesting here because construction of the Suez Canal began on 9/25, just as the Ever Given was completed on 9/25. Hillary reached the summit of Everest on 5/29. His full name, Edmond Percival Hillary, sums to 119, and it's 119 days from the day that the Ever Given ran aground to Edmond Hillary's 2021 birthday of July 20th, 119, which is the gematria of his name. So he's lined up with the ship ritual and the 28th parallel. And Hillary, her name, for some reason, she is part of this this ritual. The QAnon didn't give you all the details, but when the Ever Given was finally allowed to refloat on March 29th, 2021, multiple media outlets used the phrase, quote, "She's free." She's free has a super match with Hillary in 3 out of 4 base ciphers of Gematria. And I gave a couple examples how the media used, multiple outlets used "she's free." They all use the same phrase. Not all, but many of them. Well, matches up "she's free" and Hillary in 3 out of 4 base ciphers. So yeah, she's all over this. Now I want to give a huge shout out to Sean. Sean is a commenter who left an observation in the comment section of your decode on the Ever Given. You did a post on the Ever Given. Well, the commenter Sean made an amazing observation. I have to give him a huge shout out for this. He pointed out that the Ever Given Suez ritual was performed at the time of the ancient Roman festival of Hilaria, which is observed every March 25th. So it was still stuck. It went from March 23rd to 29th. So the Roman festival of Hilaria occurred right in the middle of the whole event. Again, and shout out to Sean for pointing that out. Hilaria, what does it sound? It sounds like Hillary. Now, there's a lot of Hillary references here. And if you, the Hilaria festival, it takes place on March 25th. That's the last day of the Roman festival. All roads lead to Rome and Babylon and Sumer. Yeah, but the Hilaria Festival, which is a spring equinox celebration, Hilaria Festival comes to 253, like the date, 253, 25th March, when it's observed. Also, 28th parallel, when you use the numbers 2 and 8, the digits, 28th parallel comes to 325, like the date, March 25th, when the Hilaria Festival is held. So I'll stop there, but I do have, there's more depth to the ritual, especially with the Hilaria Festival. There's a much more, it gets much more in depth with the Hilaria Festival. So this is basically just part one.
Well, very interesting as always, Rambo. I learned a bunch there, and I never heard of that Hilaria Festival before, so I'll definitely look more into that. With regards to the human parallel of the heart blockage, remember the word block and the word blockage both happen to equal 29, and the blockage ended on the 29th. But the coordinates of the Suez Canal, the 28th parallel north and the 33rd meridian east, the numbers 28 and 33 relate to people. Man is 28 in Gematria, people in person is 33, and then of course the 33 bones of the human vertebrae. So, yeah, awesome work. And again, just to remind people, Suez Canal equals 102 in the most simple cipher, and the blockage ended 102 days after Pope Francis's birthday, and Evergreen also has the same gematria as Jesuit order, and of course we have the first Jesuit Pope. And again, to me, this was just a form of economic warfare. Certain people made a bunch off this because certain commodity prices rose rapidly. And again, to me, it's just the Jesuits flexing their muscle and showing how easily they can manipulate the world. And they said it was severe wind that caused the ship to go sideways that blocked it. Again, remember, these people got the capability to influence the weather. So, also something else that jumps out to me is...
But again, we know who the weather god is. The weather god is Jupiter. It's Zeus.
Well, I thought it was Enlil.
It all goes back. Everything goes back.
I thought it was Enlil too. Enlil, Zeus, both.
Yeah, that's the same. You have what you have is an archetype is an original, which is like in mythology. An archetype is the original on which all other, you could call them analogs, are based. So Jupiter is who they got Jupiter from Greece. Greece called him Zeus, but it's the same entity. Like there's very little difference. There is some differences, but there's very little variation between the Greek and the Roman gods. But when you follow it back, these are all just expressions of the original archetype of the storm god, which is Enlil in Sumer. It doesn't go further than Sumer didn't base it on anyone else. Enlil is the original archetype.
I see.
And the main symbol was the eagle. And that's why they've always used the eagle. That's one symbol that started with the archetype, which they'll always use for the ensuing analogs, is the eagle. And it's a weather god. That's why it was, again, Suez, Zeus. It was weather, a storm that led to the incident. But it's a ritual.
Indeed. Also, with regards to March 23rd, 2021, there were a lot of suspicious deaths that day because it had 67 numerology, but another 67 word is water, and of course they blocked the canal on the 67 date. You see anything with that? Somebody thought this might have to do something with birthing, some kind of birth-related ritual. You see anything in that?
There could be, because I actually have a part 2 to this decode, because it's pretty long. I don't want to talk for 2 hours. And it was, again, I shout out to Sean, like, his observation really broke it open with the Hilaria Festival. The Hilaria Festival is, it's a Roman festival, but it really honors the Roman goddess of Cybele. So what you find with ancient Rome, and also now, I'm pretty sure it's with the Jesuits as well, you'll find like subgroups or like special orders within an order. So they actually could be within the Jesuits, even a sub-order, even special order within the Jesuits. So that the cult of Cybele was actually, the Romans were trying to ban it. Most Romans tried to ban it because it was considered to be really out there, and it was, one of their central rituals was based on castration. Castration is it's a major theme with these people, and this ties into what I was talking about last week with the Ellen Page, Elliot Page, with the also transgender issue we have going on, and yes, and 5335. That's a big transgender number, gender number in these issues. I think castrate is 35. I believe in the septenary, but 35 and 53 are all over this. And I'll do that in my second part. And that has to do with the cult of Cybele, which is based heavily on castration. Because also in mythology, Saturn castrated Uranus and Jupiter castrated Saturn. So this is a big thing for them. So it has to do with the cult of Cybele, who's a goddess, who actually used to be androgynous, which you don't hear that much. So yes, that's the birthing ritual might have to do with the goddess Cybele, which will be in my next part of this.
Can't wait, Rambo. Great work as always, friend. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. You have a good night.
Have a great night.
Take care. His timing's perfect because we're going into the commercial break right now. But again, I don't hear the sound. It's weird, you know? It's like earlier the music didn't play and then the commercial started late. The commercial, we should all hear the commercial right now. Something like Extendivite or